Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I hope you're all keeping well. This time we were looking at the Greenfield Stadium, also known as Greenfield Athletic Ground, Greenfield Autodrome and the Yorkshire Trotting and Athletics Grounds. It was a sports venue in Bradford, West Yorkshire. The venue was the first and former home ground of Bradford Northern Rugby League Football Club, before later becoming a Greyhound Stadium and Speedway track. It was situated adjacent to School Street off Cutler Heights Lane in Dudley Hill, Bradford, and in 1907 consisted of a 6-acre field enclosed by a pear-shaped athletic and trotting track. So onto its uses, which I've probably just gone through already, but the first use was obviously rugby league. In 1907, the newly formed Bradford Northern rented the ground for £8 from Whittaker's Brewery, who also agreed to sponsor the club. It became Northern's first permanent home, and the club set up its headquarters at the adjacent Greenfield Hotel. Bradford's first match there was against Huddersfield on the 7th of September 1907 and was watched by around 7,000 spectators. The club gained a significant scalp later that year when they beat the New Zealand touring side. Northern spent a total of £302 on the grandstand, fencing and the pitch, even though they had only spent one season at Greenfield. They vacated the ground after a vote at their AGM in June 1908, hence why they moved to Birch Lane and then onto their current home, Odsal Stadium. With Northern's departure, the ground reverted to sole usage as a running and trotting track, and by the 1920s it was known as the Yorkshire Trotting and Athletics Ground. Greyhound racing. In 1926, work began on the venue to convert it into a Greyhound racing stadium, one of the first in the UK, and it opened on the 8th of October 1927. The track was affiliated to the National Greyhound Racing Club. By now the facilities were much more developed than they had been in the earlier days. There was a main stand made up of covered terracing on the School Street side opposite the starting gate. There was also covered terracing along the back straight of Cutler Heights side. At one end was a huge tote board but no terracing, and at the other end a concourse with betting and a clubhouse overlooked the dog track. During the first month of racing, the city of Bradford suffered severe gales, and on the 29th of October 1927, the football team lost the roof of their enclosure, and the Greyhound track lost the roof of both of their stands. The stadium traded as Greenfield Greyhound Racing Association, overseen by General Manager J.C. Ridley. The two major stakeholders were the Electric Hair Company, that's H-A-R-E, not H-A-I-R, Liverpool and Greyhound Racing Association. In 1932, trainer Jimmy Rimmer set a record of 504 winners in 1 year, which attached to the track. Rimmer was famous as being the slipper at the Waterloo Cup for many years. 1 year later, in 1934, Greenfield was represented by a greyhound called Deems Mike in the English Greyhound Derby final. I will correct that and actually say Deemster's Mike, so I do apologise. The brindle dog, trained by Fred Livesey, also went on to win the Northern Flat. The track was described as a well-laid out course with a good run into the finish, suitable for all types of runners. This was an outside summer hare and race distances of 310, 500, 650 and 700 yards on the circuit with a 420-yard circumference. The stadium entrances sat alongside the Greenfield Hotel, and the popular club stand on the opposite side of the track was the stadium club stand where the finishing line was located. Behind this stand, 50 race day kennels and a paddock provided the hounds' housing. Even further behind these were residential kennels. Between the first and second bends, a third stand called the Paddon Kennel Club brought the total spectator capacity to 700 patrons. It's rather posh, that, isn't it? In 1952, the track reached the final of the National Track Championship, sponsored by the News of the World, only to lose out to Eastfield Stadium 19 points to 11. Speedway. In 1961, a 320-yard or 290 metres, whichever way you want to look at it, Speedway track was laid alongside the dog track, and the city's Speedway team, Bradford Panthers, relocated to Greenfield from Odsal Stadium. The first meeting was opened by famous Speedway promoter Johnny Hoskins. Success was short-lived, and the last meeting at Greenfield Stadium was a double-header against Sheffield and Leicester on Tuesday the 9th of October 1962, and the Panthers folded soon after. The stadium itself was closed for business in March 1969 and sold for industrial warehousing. The last sporting event was a Greyhound meeting on the 5th of March, attended by 4,790 people. So there we are. There is the history of Greenfield Stadium, which again was located in Bradford. Again, one I never knew existed. There's also another one that I found out about through reading this, which has been mentioned in this video, which was the more permanent home of Bradford Northern until they moved to Odsal. This stadium was located on Birch Lane. So that will be one of my other videos, which will be slotted in around my other videos. So I'm not making any promises as to when that's going to be, but I hope you've enjoyed this video. Obviously got a bit tongue-tied with a couple of things, but hey, you get used to that now, it's me. So once again, thank you very much everybody for listening to this video, for liking, sharing, subscribing, and once again, thank you very much to the Facebook groups that do let me share these videos. It brings a lot of enjoyment to people, as I've said many times before. And until the next video, I hope you all stay safe and goodbye.